Divine Light Accelerators. Welcome to Season 3 of Own Your Divine Light Show. I am Janet Miller, the Divine Light Activator, and I am so happy to have you here during this momentous time in humanity's expansion. This is a momentous time, something that we've never had before. We've never experienced it before, and I feel it's so important to share our experiences. We are in the shift of ages, and we are learning about ourselves, and it is a gift. If you are healthy, it can be a gift. If you are recovering and have lost someone, I send my heartfelt blessings to you. Right now, I want to have a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters of color. Now I'm getting emotional. And who deserve to live in safety, as we all do, and sending love and blessings to them. We are here to learn and support you in any way we can. And we are ready to create the lives and the world we have been waiting for. So let's just take that moment. Let's give them a moment. Send blessings and love to them. Breathe it out. Okay, thank you. So I am so excited and thrilled to have welcome our amazing guest today, Acurda Melchizedeck, who is a specialist in working with multidimensional aspects of DNA. She teaches people to access these codes in their holographic blueprints and to recode them in order to live into their highest potential. It is she has a passion to teach people how to heal their DNA and show them how to clear destructive DNA patterns from their lineage, which is so amazing, and the trauma, and helps them recode them for activation and align them to their wholeness, their soul light, their mission, and their sacred geometry. Acurda works with her holographic body, her sacred geometry, her Akashic records, the crystalline grid system, other multidimensional realms, and she's leading a program in transformational of the 144 stranded DNA and for the evolution of humanity and leaving a new genetic lineage, that's not a small job you've got there. Welcome, Acurda. I am so excited to have you here and so happy to have you talk about your work.
So, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Janet. Love you. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be in this time with all of us, especially those who are waking up to the fact that you're a light worker and that we are in the expansion of infinite potential and possibility, not only for our genetics, but for humanity, for our soul. And we have the opportunity to transverse many different types of matrix traps right now. And it's such a fabulous time to be here and be a co-creator and to be co-creating with you today.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, your work is huge. And you talk about accelerating the human potential through our DNA. So we might as well just start with that. How do you do that? How does it work?
So when we talk about the infinite potential, the way that I like to talk about this is to start breaking it down into DNA strands.
Yeah.
And so for me, I teach a program called the Holographic Human, from cell to soul. This is a mastery of energetics, but we start with the 12 strands of DNA. And the 12 strands of DNA are different templates of experience for the physical manifestation of our soul to be embodied here. Okay, so each strand has a color, each strand has a specific purpose to our embodiment. So we go through the first 12 strands and we clear and recode. And what that means is that, I have come up with 64 programs that I feel are the different sets of traps that people fall into, or the matrices that people fall into. And that is the human matrix, the personal ego matrix, lifetime matrix, and then we have ones for the soul as well. And so I use these 64 programs and I start communicating with DNA, and kind of figure out where these programs are, what strand are they in. So if they are, let's say, anywhere in the first 5 strands, okay, the first 5 strands are genetics, ancestral stories. All of our stories from our ancestors are encoded into us. Our past lives are in the 3rd strand. Our 4th dimensional aspect, our present life incarnation, is the memory, we'll say, in the 4th strand of DNA. And then unity consciousness is in the 5th strand of DNA. And so what we're witnessing right now in this time is everybody is, we'll say, releasing the programs of these lower dimensions so that we can all step into the 5th dimensional reality, and that is unity consciousness. So we go through and we pull these programs forward. And then I start asking, how did these programs get there, right? Because we all have a moment where this program started.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
The 5th dimension. I mean, and you said we're in the 5th. Is that meaning that when we connect with our 5th strand, we're connecting with the 5th dimensional energy?
Yep. Each strand has a dimensionality to it. Okay. It connects us to, we'll say, the morphogenetic potential of that dimension. Dimensions have light. Dimensions have geometry. Dimensions have a morphogenetic field. Right. And so when we access them, we actually are accessing them through like our portal. When we look at the chakral system, the 12-dimensional chakral system, it's a portal of openings, of keys to the access information inside these dimensions, so that we become in resonance with, we'll say, the frequency that's there, so that we can harmonize, actualize that information, learn from it, and expand our consciousness. And so we're working towards this 5th dimensional reality. And, in the 5th dimension, it's unity consciousness. And so unity consciousness is where, our will, we drop the personal egoic will, and we move into the will of, we'll say, the omniverse, the universe, where our will becomes the will of everything. And we start to move into a flow that is not self-driven.
Not so much by the ego.
Exactly. Yeah. But is driven by the soul of connection to everything and the embetterment of everything.
Is this what they mean by we connect to our galactic community? Is that part of it? Or sort of?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the way that I look at the galactic community is that these are stories that happened outside of this physical representation. So they're actually at a higher level. So they usually start around the 7th to 9th strand, between the 7th, 9th, 11th strand, right? And the 12th strand is like our oversoul communication of light, is like our God communication. It is truly the uncorruptible experience of the highest part of our soul as we move out of being eternal, like the eternal formless nature. And so going through the 12 strands of DNA with the 64 programs, then we move into, where did this start? Did this start genetically? Okay, is this something that we need to work in through mutations in the DNA?
Now, is this present birth, family of origin kind of stuff?
So then these are just aspects of where the program started.
Yeah.
So then we move into, did this start past life, present life, ancestral story, and then what has been interesting is because we're moving at such a faster rate and having more communication, and more people are clearing their strands of DNA, we're starting to witness the hybrid DNA. And so that is like the communication, like you're talking about with your galactic family, because we weren't just this human form. Right. We've been several dimensional beings, and we've been in several planets and in other solar systems. And so this starts that field of communication at about the 7th dimensional level, where we start tapping in to our cosmic or galactic family and our galactic memories of ourselves, right? And still there are stories to be cleared.
Mm.
such as like the Galactic Wars, the Orion Wars, Tiamat, all of those
Yeah, the stories that we've heard.
situations. Exactly.
The
And so,
ancient ones, yeah.
what we're doing right now is, the humans are so magnificent, is we are clearing all of this through all the dimensions. And although it's representing like right now here in humanity, right, is that we are clearing all of these blocks, all of these programs
Wow.
through this dimensional pattern. And so then what really wanted to start coming through to be worked with this year was AI. And so AI is an artificial intelligence or distortion pattern. So anything that is not organic to our soul codes is considered AI. So that can be technology, it can be a distortion pattern that's coming in from, it could be extraterrestrial, it could be implants, it could be entities, so
Through medications?
I'm sorry, what?
Would it be through medications, like through some of the pharmaceuticals?
Oh, absolutely. Anything that puts a hole inside of our energetic field is a potentiality for us to be leaking energy. And
Okay.
so one of the things that's happening right now is that, with this beautiful I do not consent, right,
Yeah.
is we are starting to claim
Oh.
all of our power interdimensionally. And so
Mm.
what has been happening is that many of us don't understand the magnificence that we are interdimensionally, right? I call this the universal human. We don't understand that we have genetics for a universal human, that we are in resonance and connection and a part of the fabric interdimensionally. Okay,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true, isn't it? Because so many people don't even believe there's anything after they die. They don't even
right.
believe that. So yes, and you're telling them this is like a whole nother wow.
This is a whole other level of claiming of
Mm.
our divinity, our birthright as light, right?
Yes.
Our birthright of light is quantum, it is infinite, and
Mm.
we need to start claiming that for ourselves. We
Mm.
cannot just say that this small piece is our existence, is our only light, because that leaves all the rest of our light in the universe open. And if we're not using it, something else is going to use it.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
so we're in this place right now, multidimensionally claiming our light and our power for the
Right.
multidimensional human or the universal human.
Because one of the questions I had was how does the DNA correlate to the multiple dimensional access? So you're kind of telling us the entrance is here. Is it like, wow, it's a lot to process when you haven't quite put that all together, it's like, and I've been learning things, but yet there's still so much more there. It's because it's constantly expanding, and we're constantly expanding.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah, there was something you talked about. I mean, I know I heard from someone that we're meant to be masters. Everyone here are meant to be masters. I mean, we're meant to create another universe. I mean, we're meant to do so many other things. So we're going through this whole shift and change. And part of that is, like you're saying, understanding your DNA and understanding what is in it and how you can clear it. Like, people don't even realize we can clear it. That's a magical
Yeah.
process. And
And
yes, go ahead. Yeah.
well, I was going to say, in how we clear DNA is by one, going in and looking where these programs are. And these programs are basically, they look like programs. They look like black spots or holes, or the DNA being frayed or shattered, or whatever trauma or issue of how this started is representative into the DNA, right?
Mhm.
Masculine and feminine imbalance, the double helix. One helix is usually larger than the other, right? So as you go in and you start looking at these aspects inside your own DNA, you start to become a witness of how deep this is, how we are creating ourselves in every moment with every thought. And that then we start using light and geometry, right, and intention to start recoding this DNA and bringing it back to its original divine blueprint for our 12th dimensional access. And when you start working with light and geometry, and you start to witness the pattern starting to change inside your DNA, right? And energy, your soul light starting to move through, source starting to move through, and how your cells become reprogrammed, how you start to move into cellular regeneration, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. And so when you work with the 12 strands of DNA and you clear and recode, and you start accessing the 12th dimensions of these strands in resonance, each strand has a vibrational frequency to it, okay, when it's in harmony, right? When it's in perfection.
All right.
When the 12 strands, when the 12 strands actually come together in, like, we'll say like 12 strands or 12 notes of a musical instrument, and they all play at the same time in harmony. There is a 13th, we'll say, sound that happens, a 13th frequency. We call the 13th harmonic. The 13th harmonic opens up another set of genetics. So opens us up to the 24 stranded DNA. And this 24 stranded DNA actually helps us move into being a manifester with 24 dimensions of fabric in the morphogenetic field around us. So this is really where we truly will be able to bend space and time, where we will start to time travel.
This is the mastery.
And teleportation. This is the mastery.
Wow.
Exactly.
So where do you see us coming into that? I mean, I know right now, where are we? I mean, we're barely at the fifth. We're at the fifth strand, right? So we have a ways to go. So, but it seems to be happening faster, you're saying. So
exactly, and right now, especially with, you know, the eclipse that's happening and the Alcyon portal, and there's 3 portals that are opening right now that are creating, we'll say, a golden triad, right? That is speeding up the expansion of our energy in a momentous upward. And you know, what we're going through right now is where the higher frequencies are meeting the lower frequencies, right? Because all of these codes are coming in. And so whatever is not in this higher frequency, right, because we can't hold a high and a low, has to be purged. And so we're just looking at all of these different purges from different angles.
Yeah, that's why we're doing so much clearing. That's why this whole stillness is here. So you're showing us another reason for what we're in right now, which is amazing, to help our DNA shift, to allow it to come in. Now, do we always have to have help? Because I know that's what you do. I mean, you have to have some kind of help, don't you, to clear this? Or can you do it on your own, is what you're saying? Is that possible?
Absolutely. I mean, I truly believe that we're all, I mean, we came here to do this for ourselves. Like the way that I teach and you know, the sessions that I do are all like, you are a magnificent being of light. You are your creator God. You know, I'm just a guide, but this is all about you claiming, because at some level, right, we can take programs, we can take courses, we can, you know, listen to other information, but at some level you have to start wielding your own
power,
your soul vibration, your unique sound soul vibration, right? And all of this stuff that you're learning, right, in your soul magnificence, your mission, all of that, your ascension process, it's like you have to wield it yourself. You're creating it. And the more that you start moving in and creating from the depth of the integration of your energetic fields, your mastery of energetics, DNA, your highest soul perspective, is where, you know, there is a true liberation. And the liberation is like moving into the liberty codes, the liberty templates. So we're moving into this so that we can be our energy moving in freedom. And so when you talked about creating universes, right?
Yes.
There has to be these levels of witnessing of our own creation, right? And so your ascension is part of that, so that you can move in to the benevolence, the compassion, the highest frequencies of love and light to create worlds.
Oh yeah.
So you're not a destroyer. And so this is like part of the process
Okay,
that we're moving into.
sure.
In like, you know, all of these, we'll say the new Earth templates are being activated, or the Eden templates are being activated right now, because we will get to experience with the new genetics of light, the uncorruptible genetics of light.
Mm-hmm.
We will get to experience the new human and the new earth, and we will get to take that experience with us as we even move past that, so that we can be creators of universes.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you see that? I mean, you say we can do so much in this lifetime. How soon is that? You see that possibly happening when?
Well, here's the thing, is that, you know, we're living past, present, and future all at once.
That's our multidimensionality.
And if you've ever had a timeline shift,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Oh yeah.
or completely cleared something from your,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from your
Cell
DNA,
memory.
your cells, your chakral system, your magnetic field, it's like you wake up, you're a completely different person, and
Okay.
it's like you can barely remember
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened before. It's
That's
like you don't remember the details anymore. I mean, this is
yeah.
gonna be stuff that was like the biggest trauma in your entire life. I
Mm.
mean, you worked on it for 30 years, and then all of a sudden it clears, like really clears.
Yeah. It's
And
gone.
you wake up, it's gone. And it's like you don't even know that person. You
Mm.
don't even recognize, like you vaguely don't have the details anymore. I mean, this is stories that you told over and over and over again. You know, this will
That's
be
interesting. Yeah.
this will be what happens for us, is that we will wake up like that, and we will be in the new earth.
Well, that's what I've heard them say. So this is how you see it. And now that makes sense to me and to hopefully everyone listening, because I know I've had small moments of that happening to me where I mean, this is even years back when I stepped into something new and I couldn't even remember people that I grew up with. It's like those people are out of my mind. And my brother will mention somebody, or somebody, my friend will mention somebody. And I'm like, I don't even remember these people. I don't
What
remember any of
happens is, like, your whole being
them.
organizes a new hologram around you, and
Ah.
it doesn't include that
Those old
anymore.
memories. It's like the traumas are gone, right? This is
It's
what
like
we're
the traumas are gone.
because we can't take those into the fifth dimension either, can we?
Nope,
That's what I've
it
heard. You
doesn't,
know, you
it
can't.
doesn't work like that. And so, you know,
Whew.
the best thing that we can do is, you know, as these things are clearing,
Mm-hmm.
is to not tell those stories anymore,
Yeah, this is
and
true.
to let, like,
It's true.
truly let them go. And anything that you learned in the past, this is a skill that we get to start imploring for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything that you learned in the past is no longer valid.
Mm. Oh, I
So
believe that.
so
Yeah.
stop looking at old
Oh,
information,
so
old
true.
stories, old relationships. Like,
Yeah.
none of it is valid.
Even
And so
history books, like if you look at history, I don't even want to look at history because it's not valid.
it's not
Everything,
valid.
nothing is valid.
And, you know, even if we've spent, you know, 20, 30 years working on a career, or even, you know, the information that I'm bringing forward right now is valid for this time and won't be valid in 5 years from now. It's not going to be valid.
I
So
know.
the
Yeah.
more that we can just let go, we can be creators and let go,
Yeah.
right?
And that's not
And
easy
not,
for people to hear either.
I get it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. But so, but feel into what it feels like when your energy, when your
Mm.
soul is in complete freedom to
Oh,
create in the moment at the highest integrity, and not from old stories or tethers to old information
it's an
or
amazing
people.
sense of freedom, and
It's
it's
an
an amazing
amazing,
sense of peace.
this is
Oh.
the experience that we're receiving
Mm.
from the freedom codes and the freedom templates.
So that's partly why we're experiencing all this stuff with the pandemic, and now we're experiencing this with all the people standing up to clear these old ways, because we're truly stepping into our hearts. I mean, this is the heart opening, that this is causing all these shifts, and this is the higher codes coming in, the higher light codes that are opening
Absolutely.
our ways. And oh my goodness, it's amazing. So it's great to connect it, to see it in tangible ways, you know what I mean? Because it makes so much sense when it applies to your life right now, which is what you're saying. It's amazing. And then what we have to look forward to. So So you were talking about the 12 strands. So you said, so that's the starting point. What's the best? So you start with your 12 strands, right? What's your starting point with people with the DNA? How do you get them to connect with you? How do you start with this work with them?
Well, usually I ask them if they're experiencing any patterns in their life.
Okay. Mhm.
So, these places where we give our power away or we're leaking energy, parasitic relationships, all of these things create our DNA, our cellular structures, our chakral system, right? Our electromagnetic field. And then we come into resonance with somebody who has the same type of lower vibrational programming, a pattern plays out again, right?
Oh,
And the
yes.
pattern will keep playing out until we see it clearly and make a different choice. And when
Mm,
we make that choice, again, we have the ability to completely change everything, like rewrite everything in just a moment like that. And
wow.
so when we do that, everything starts shifting and changing, right?
Mm,
So if a person can see how their patterns are playing out,
mhm.
if they can start to see them, and I can show them how to go into their DNA and recode the pattern, clear and recode the pattern, it's life changing
It
because
is.
they get to witness it on so many levels. Not do they get to free up that energy to create in something else, right? But they also get to see how powerful they are with their own consciousness
Right, right.
and how we're creating ourselves in every moment.
And I always say we're co-creators, and now you're making it very, realistic of how we are co-creators and how we can shift those patterns. And it's huge. It's a huge knowing. It's a huge knowing that you can do that and to bring it in, embody it, like you're saying, to embody it. Yeah. Wow. So, so how do you prepare your body to receive this? Like, what do you do? Like when people, like you say, you get them ready, you get them awareness. Is there anything else that they have to do?
Well, there's a difference between working with somebody one time and working with somebody in a program, because in order to experience this as a 12th dimensional experience,
Mhm.
we have a lot of energetic techniques that we employ, right, to start bringing a person's embodiment soul light in so that they can witness it and start feeling it, right, and to start cultivating the communication and the connection with it,
Mhm.
right? So, a person's experience is at the level that they're able to experience
Yeah.
this type of information.
Mhm.
For some people, it could be ancestral clearing, right? For some people, it could be a present life clearing. For some
Mm.
people, it could be a hybrid galactic family clearing, right?
Wow.
So it's all at which the rate that a person's higher self is ready to receive that information at their next step.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we've agreed, like if when we work together, we've agreed, our higher selves have agreed that we're going to work together for the greatest outcome. Okay, but our understandings may be different of that,
Sure.
and the information that you receive is going to be in alignment with the verbiage, with the visualizations, the sensations that are appropriate for you at the time to allow ease and grace and witnessing of your divinity, your healing, and your magnificence.
Mm. So how did you get into this work? I haven't even asked you that. How did this start for you? Where did this come from? 'Cause I didn't even go there. And usually that's my first question. We jumped right in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we just jumped right into the meat of the whole thing. So yeah, tell me how it started.
Well, it's for me. It started at a very young age. I was very gifted, and like most very gifted people, we get placed um, in a situation that is traumatic. Right,
Yep.
because we come in with more of an awareness of the truth of who we are, so the
Mm.
human doesn't actually make sense to us. So one, there's a human reckoning that starts to happen, right, and so that was part of it. And then we all choose our family. I chose my family for the reasons to give me strength to keep moving forward, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
They are the people who gave me the strength to stand in whatever is coming forward, to come forward and to hold my own. And I am grateful for them. I'm grateful for everything that they gave me in their own way.
Mhm.
And um, so I was about 16 years old, and I had been sick my whole life. I mean,
Really?
just all kinds of sick,
Mhm.
always on antibiotics, like you name it, always sick. Because I didn't understand, I was trying to rectify all these things. I didn't understand that people didn't see what I saw. I stopped talking for a little while, you
Oh.
know, because I was seeing energy. Nobody else was seeing energy, but I was seeing energy. And so, you know, I was having conversations with other beings, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
and and that it wasn't believable for people. And so there was like these multi-level of breakdowns. So when I was about 16, I really started taking responsibility for that. And I
Mhm.
started meditating. I started going to the Buddhist temple. I started cooking my own food. I started studying herbs and tonics and tinctures and, you know, started energy work. And I mean, it was really at such a young age that I just knew that what was happening was not the truth. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew.
Mm.
And that really started me, you know, through basically studying so many healing modalities all over the world. You know, there's not really a healing modality that I haven't really studied. And, you know, then there was this aspect of really starting to notice that every culture, right, that had a healing system, right, an ancient healing system, an ancient wisdom healing system that in the culture that rose with the culture,
Mhm.
they were all saying the same things.
Mm.
And then, so I feel like that was like my initiation of, we'll say, the earth medicine, the human medicine. And then when that started happening, the Galactic Council, the Federation of Light, came in and rewrote my DNA. And so all the work that I do now is my interpretation of what they did outside of space and time, and the recoding with light and geometries that they did in the 12 strand structure, and activated a 24 strand template for humanity. And I mean, that's pretty much how it started. And
Wow.
you know, here we are 5 years later.
5 years? That happened only 5 years ago?
It happened only 5 years ago, and I sat on it for 2 years.
Wow.
I was, you know, because like most people who have this information,
Mhm.
you know, we feel we've been lone wolves most of our life, and it hasn't been safe to say these things. And
Absolutely.
you know, I had to really walk through the path of protection and safety for myself,
Sure.
and you know, to truly claim that, and you know, to will that inside of myself, that no matter what happens,
Mhm.
this information will be heard in this life.
You committed. Yep.
And and it's not about me.
Right. Right. It's like your soul agreement. You made your soul agreement. You committed to it. It's your soul purpose. It's kind
Mhm.
of like your soul purpose that you came in here.
Exactly. And that's where the name Acurda came from. It actually came from the Galactic Council, the Federation of Light.
What does it mean?
It actually is a frequency that breaks down to the numerology of 3, which is catalyst.
Okay, absolutely. Oh, that's I get chills on that. That's amazing. Wow. Yes, you are a huge catalyst. So, oh my goodness, what else can I ask? I know you do so much work. So, what else can you tell us about the DNA? Tell us, like you say, we're opening up to 24 strands. We're going to go there. People, we're still in the 5th, so we have this work coming in right now. What other things can you tell us that we need to do, or what can we see happening, or can you see happening in the rest of 2020? Like everything's up in the air. I mean, we've got the pandemic, which is keeping us all unbalanced because we don't know what's going to come next, and yet we need to stay grounded to
Mhm.
embody this whole new open-heartedness, this whole change. The light codes coming in are huge right now, and that's what's shifting us. And the crystalline DNA, I know you work with the crystalline grid, so our DNA is being shifted into crystalline, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So So
And so what that really means is that we're going from like a carbon base to a crystalline base, a silica based, right? So we're moving more into where light can actually move through.
Okay.
Right? And so, you know, when we look at like the higher, we'll say quantum strands of DNA, is they have, instead of like the solidifying double helix, right?
Okay.
That we all see, we all know, is that it starts to become little photons of light in a DNA shape.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And they look like little diamonds, right? And so when light comes through,
okay, I got chills. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
it's just like a prism.
Yeah, it's like a prism. That's how I visualize things all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a prism.
Like a
light,
prism.
always shimmering light, diamond light. You know, it's amazing that you say that. And we're getting it, even though we don't always, I can't put it into all the words you do sometimes, but that's amazing that you can see that. You can actually see that. I see it in it's a knowing I have a knowing. Sometimes I see, and I have a knowing, a lot of it. So it's beautiful. So I know there was a lot of things you talked about, patterns, and there was a couple other things you talked about with the soul. The soul comes in to organize. I heard you say this somewhere, that the soul comes in to organize our whole purpose on earth. How does that work? How do you see the soul work in our lives with your DNA?
So we come here for a reason, right? Otherwise, what's the point?
Oh, exactly. That's our purpose. Purpose. Everybody wants.
And again, there's a multi-dimensional representation to why we've come here. And one is to have this human experience, right? For our expansion is to clear all of these past human experiences that we've had, and to start working and seeing that there are several archetypal structures that we keep reincarnating as that are no longer viable.
Oh, right.
Doing all of this bigger clearing, right? So that we can witness these archetypal structures that are no longer viable. And when I talk about the new genetics, the new lineage of light, it is outside of these archetypal structures. And you can call it a zero type archetype or our God archetype, right? But it doesn't have these archetypal structures to it. Oh. And when you start to experience that, you start to experience your soul on a more pure level. Oh. When you experience your soul on a more pure level, there is an infinite witnessing that starts happening. Okay, some people want to call it like that 0 point of void.
The 0 point field, yeah.
The 0 point field. Well, this is a template, an archetypal template for us. And this archetypal template, when you feel it, there is infinite potential and possibility in it. It is like a black hole. Okay, and we have a misrepresentation of what black holes really are. And black holes are accelerators, and they bend light. Yeah. Okay. So we have the opportunity in this 0 point witnessing to bend light, to bend all holographic form in space and time in all dimensions to whatever we would like.
Once we embody our soul, like once we allow that to come in and break through all those archetypes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I started with archetypes in healing school, with Carolyn Miss, the archetypes that she brought through. I mean, you're talking about different archetypes. You're talking about now you've gotten into the, I don't know, however you name them in your program, but I'm sure you have that named in your program. But wow, that's amazing. So what else do we need to know? What's the next step for us for the rest of this year with all that's going on? What do you see as a message for us?
I feel that what is happening right now is the deconstruction of all of the inverse timelines, and we'll say false inverses. And the false inverse is anything that we think is true outside of ourselves
That's
is
interesting.
not true, is false.
Hmm.
And so, when we talk about us being source,
Mm-hmm.
self-sourcing,
Right.
is that our everything comes from the truth of who we are inside.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes from that truth, that like that soul embodiment, it is you see very clearly that these things are not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
they disappear.
interesting. Do we shift dimensions as we get embody that? I mean, do we start shifting dimensions, even though we're
Absolutely.
living side by side? Because I've heard that we are shifting dimensions. We can live next to others in the that are different dimensions,
Absolutely.
but we really don't connect. We don't
I
connect.
I'm experiencing that like right now.
Yeah.
I
And
live in a place that has been very unaffected by what is really happening.
yeah,
And
wonderful.
um,
Yeah.
so here's what's where we are deconstructing all of these levels
Mm-hmm.
of false beliefs.
Right.
And that is history, the banking system,
Yeah.
I mean, all of the false narratives, and also where race, gender, all of the false identity narratives,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that we can move into, again, that witnessing of unity consciousness. And you see it right now happening. I mean,
Yes.
with the stuff that's going on is with the race stuff, is that we are coming together,
Yeah.
and we are atoning, apologizing, accepting, um, opening up communication to have these larger conversations, because without this healing we cannot step into unity. And I'm telling you, it's going to start moving so fast.
Yes. That.
And that unity consciousness,
Mm.
when it starts really moving into the collective,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to be a game changer, and it will be the accelerator to what I talked about with the waking up in the new earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's what I keep hearing. It's going to just happen. I mean, and I mean, that's why things are shifting. I mean, partly that's why some of these things are happening on the earth, to take the old energy away, really, in so many ways. Unfortunately, and it's a hard way to look at it, but it is true in so many ways. I mean, those who are willing to shift and change will be here, although everyone, so how do I put this? When we shift dimensions, those in the third, I mean, they still say they'll be side by side, but will they be here? Or will they all shift with us? I thought originally I hear we're all going to shift together. And now what is it? What do you see? Are we all shifting together no matter what, whoever's here?
So I believe
Hmm.
that because we all have free will, we all get a choice.
Okay.
And it is relative to the choices that we make.
Okay.
There's nobody has a evolution or ascension or any of that is forced upon them.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Everybody gets to participate in that,
Hmm.
and to evolve, and to create in that if they choose.
Right. Okay. And if they don't, what happens?
And if they don't, then it's part of the reincarnation matrix.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Interesting. It's just, that's what I've always heard, but it's like interesting to, now we're living the reality of everything I've heard for the past 20 years. I mean, the reality is here, and it's coming in such a way that none of us saw any of this, but also you're bringing in this light with your energy work that you do, the DNA shift, the quantum energy work you do, that is so amazing to help us to move along. So you're making the process even smoother and easier for us by going and even doing the work with you, and then you're basically empowering everyone to upgrade their DNA. You're giving us the roadmap, you're showing us what to do, and I mean, you're one of those quantum leaders is how I see you, because you have this understanding of what's next for us, which is powerful. It's powerful because, you know, you put
Powerful.
words that,
And
yeah,
we are magnificent. We are eternal.
right.
We
We are.
are a fractal of God.
Hmm.
We are living light.
Yes.
And I am here to show people how to create with their living light, with
Hmm.
light and geometry and consciousness through not only the DNA, but through the dimensional fields and the morphogenetic fibers and the holographic nature of everything. That is what I came here to do in this present life.
In this incarnation. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my show is Own Your Divine Light. I mean, we're connected, you know, there's the connection is, I came in with the show to show people how people have changed their light, how they've shifted into the light that they're in now. And yet, and then there's so much more that we're learning that we can own our own divine light. You're telling us this is how you do it. This is how you can do it. This is how you can raise and shift it all. And it's just so powerful. This is the creators who we are meant to be. These are the co-creators we're meant to be. And this is when we start embodying it and owning it and understanding that we can do this. So this is the whole reason for this show, and that people like you come on, and I love this. I love this so much. So Acurda, I know you have a gift. I'd love you to tell us a little about your gift. It's a free gift. And let's see.
Yeah.
I got it.
So the free gift is a a the first clearing of the first two strands of DNA,
Okay.
so genetics and ancestral
Hmm.
patterning. And so, we can all identify that we came from somewhere,
Hmm.
right? And that's the easiest for people to make that connection. They know they came from somewhere. They've heard those stories. They see their family members in the physical. And so when you start to have that connection, that communication
Hmm.
inside your DNA, it starts to open up all of these other levels for you to experience DNA work.
Okay. Because I've done those 2 levels with you. I know that. Shifts you, and there's so much more. There's so much more. So it's a powerful gift, everybody. So please take advantage of that. And it's a free gift from Acurda. And I want to just thank our audience for being here. And I always ask you to, send in any information, any ahas or takeaways you got. Love to share them with Acurda. Acurda has her amazing programs that there'll be the links below that you can look at, and you can share your email and your website right now. Acurda, what's your website?
So the website is livingyourdnacode.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my email is Acurda, Acurda, at livingyourdna.com or Acurda1212 at gmail.com. And our next course starts in August
Mm-hmm.
for the holographic human from cell to soul.
Perfect timing, because this is when you'll be hearing you before that. So it's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's a perfect time because right now as the solstice comes, we're in that healing of the Lemurian and Atlantean timelines,
Yes.
and so the exactly. So again, so the children of light can be born, and so we're in the midst of healing that, and I can't wait to see what comes next from
Yeah,
the healing of these two timelines,
I
the
know. It's
masculine
so
and
amazing.
feminine.
They keep talking about how we're all reincarnated. I mean, I know I had Atlantean lives, and I know I had Lemurian lives. We've had both.
We've had both.
Yeah, and
And we've had dimensional lives as well and other human
absolutely.
experiences. But this is where we get to ask ourselves, what is it going to take
Mm.
for us to be liberated
Mm-hmm.
from these timelines?
I think everything we're seeing is leading us in a good direction. It's so much hope out there right now. I think people are feeling so much. I love that I see people crying, and I mean, I can't even keep my tears back when I'm talking about things going around. It's just so, our hearts are just so opening, and they're opening so wide now. It's so beautiful to see everyone willing to listen
Yeah,
and just stop and
yeah.
go, oh my gosh, I never looked at it that way before, but we're now looking. It's like you're saying that shift is here. It's like we're starting to wake up. It's like happening boom, 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 and faster, only through sometimes the hard way. We never get things easy in this dimension, do we?
And, you know, vulnerability
Mm,
leads to trust,
yes.
and trust leads to unity.
I love that. Thank you. Those are beautiful words. Yeah. Go ahead.
And
Yes, I know when I started becoming vulnerable and trusting that my world opened up. It did. And like you said, when you had to learn to trust and bring your work through, that was another vulnerable, trusting moment, right?
we get to learn how to trust each other again.
Yes.
We get to learn how to be vulnerable. We get to learn how to trust each other, because one thing that we have lost is the ability to be in unity consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, we were so stuck in our ego, and at what, oh, no, every man is an island or something, or is it no man is an island? I can't remember how that works anymore. It's so old. It's so old. I don't even know if it works anymore. But yeah, the unity consciousness is so powerful. I mean, so many of these things that are going on right now is bringing us into that. So thank you. Those words are so gorgeous. And I'm going to thank you so much for being here and sharing your amazing light. I mean, and bringing all this to us with the accelerations you're bringing to humanity are so powerful, and you're helping them unlock all their passions, ignite their authenticity, create the lives they love in so many ways, and the world that we love. So thank you, Acurda, so much. So
Thank
grateful.
you. Thank you. You know, we're here. So, like a living light testament, so other people can step into their light,
Yes.
because we need you now. And it's not about you.
No, it's not even now, for the major shift of all of it, for the whole, for the world, the universe, everything. All, it's amazing how it just echoes out. So I'm Janet Miller, and I will see you all on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. So much love.